With the release of the new catalog, The Radiance of Gemstones, I wanted to make a video on this topic, and a wonderful idea came to my mind. Why not film 100 days on hardcore for the jeweler, perhaps even more? I think it sounds cool. So before the video starts, don't forget to hit like and literally subscribe to the channel. Although there are many famous names in the world of jewelry art, I have chosen the great master Carl Fabergé. After all, how can one not recall his stunning works? Therefore, that is how we will name our hero. Of course, his life goal will be related to the jewelry, craft. He dreams of becoming a professional in this field and creating the highest quality and most expensive pieces. But Carl himself is indeed quite embarrassingly cringy and curious. However, he does have one very good trait. He quickly masters any skills. Carl moved to a very strange little town called StrangerVille. In this town, there are many scientists and military personnel. These people can sometimes behave, shall we say, unusually. Fate did not spare Carl Fabergé when he moved to this mysterious corner of the world. He had only an empty plot of land and $1,000 in his pocket. He is very lucky that there is a bench next to the lot where he can at least take a nap. However, sleeping on a bench in the rain is not ideal. When his neighbors came to introduce themselves, he felt a mix of emotions, fear, and curiosity. Their behavior turned out to be strange and unpredictable, as if they were characters from the wildest fantasies. I wonder if they are always like this, or if their intensity eventually fades. Well, I would like them to leave here soon, as it's unclear what else to expect from them. By the way, the neighbor still held back on the cake. Carl Fabergé was eager to start his jewelry business as soon as possible, so he didn't even bother to set up his plot and immediately went in search of crystals. For he knew that they grew in different areas, especially in certain parks, which he headed towards. But the first day of his search turned out to be in vain. When he returned home, disappointment clouded his soul, but Carl was indeed a true fighter, and was determined not to give up. The only thing he did for his plot was to carefully plant a shrubbery for his needs, while all his other time and energy were meticulously directed towards realizing his dream, buying a work table and a stand for enchanting his creations. And he got started on his first project. But the beginning was not easy. Constant interruptions, distractions, and troubles hindered him from concentrating. Sometimes hit his fingers, sometimes hot, and sometimes a headache. But Carl Fabergé did not give up. His perseverance and hard work paid off, and through sheer determination, from his hands came beautiful earrings, which he right away set to charge with energy. He was so inspired by his first success that he indeed immediately set to work on the next piece. He spent money on materials, relying on the hope that he would be able to sell his unique creations at a high price and make a profit from them. But considering that his funds quickly ran out, he had to look for an additional source of income. So he took on a part-time job and then got a position as a lab assistant. This topic is close to him. Many discoveries there are also related to gemstones and various metals. The next morning, Carl Fabergé set off for his first day of work with great excitement and anticipation. For him, it was a time of new opportunities and interesting discoveries, as it was his first real job. Since Carl was very hungry, the first thing he did was head to the staff cafeteria, where there was a vending machine that sold sandwiches and a coffee machine where he could make himself free coffee. After having a snack and recharging his energy, Carl went to fulfill his work duties. He needed to water the flowers. When he watered the flowers, a beautiful secretary named Becky came in to introduce herself. She immediately appealed to Carl, but he did not show it and spoke to her as if she were his colleague before going to conduct various analyses. Carl worked quite well, even staying late, but just before leaving he took a shower and ate a sandwich. At the end of his shift, Carl Fabergé got promoted, his first day at work, and he had already achieved success. This was an incredible confirmation for him that he was on the right path and that his place was right here among scientific research and discoveries. After a long day at work, Carl, having managed to save some money, decided to invest it in his small business by buying a table to sell his unique items. And that same evening, he organized a garage sale where he was able to successfully sell his works. This inspired him to achieve new accomplishments, and he continued to work on creating new masterpieces. despite having to sleep on a bench and sell his items again. However, on one magical evening, Carl decided to take a break and invited Becca for a romantic walk in the park. They spent the evening enjoying conversations and each other's company, and they went ice skating and admired the beauty of the winter evening. But when Carl noticed the sparkle of crystals in the snow, he couldn't resist. Yes, the very ones he couldn't find when he went to the park. He had to pause the date and dig up this beauty. Between the girl and the crystals, Carl chose the crystals. From the moment he found those magical crystals, his heart began to beat faster. Although the magical evening was interrupted for a short time, the crystals had a greater impact on him than he could have expected. Becca, understanding, gave him time to enjoy his discoveries before they continued their date. Carl's attraction to the crystals was very strong, so upon returning home, he resumed his favorite hobby. He began crafting new items from his precious finds. As the cold weather approached, Carl felt the chilly wind seeping through his clothes, reminding him that he still had no home. He continued to live on the streets, sleeping on a bench under the open sky. But thanks to the successful garage sales, where his works were valued like gold, he was able to earn enough funds to finally start building his own house. His exquisite creations attracted buyers, and they were willing to pay higher prices, appreciating the uniqueness and beauty of each piece. This success gave Carl hope and motivation, and he made the decision to invest the money he earned in building his house, where he can live with comfort and satisfaction, knowing that it is his own corner, created by his own hands and talent. Carl decided that his home should be a place where he could find inspiration and create his masterpieces. On the outside, it will look like a cozy log cabin, reminiscent of ancient times when craftsmen created their works with soul. Inside, there will be a spacious workspace that will become the heart of this home. For now, there will only be a table and a stand, but Carl dreams of numerous shelves adorned with his jewelry pieces, creating an atmosphere of magic and enchantment. The next room will be his modest bedroom, where the only piece of furniture for now will be a folding bed. However, Carl is eagerly awaiting the moment when he can decorate this room. I wanted to make the wallpaper from the new catalog. I will just change the colors in different rooms. They create a mesmerizing atmosphere. The bathroom will be in a beautiful green color. Next is the kitchen. In principle, I want to create a magical atmosphere throughout the house. But for now, there is no more money, so we will stop here. Finally, Carl enjoyed the comfort of his own home, sleeping on a soft bed in his cozy room. It was much better than spending nights outside on a cold bench. But upon waking up, he realized that all his savings had gone into the renovation and furnishing of the house, and he had to look for extra work again. Having gathered necessary funds, he invested them in buying materials to create his unique items. His hard work did not go unnoticed. By selling his item with a 20% markup, Carl was able to afford a refrigerator, install a toilet, shower, and sink, as well as purchase various small items for the bathroom. At least one room is now completely ready. How good Carl felt when he took a shower in his house and could eat a sandwich at any moment he wanted. At work, Carl managed to coax various materials from his colleagues for his unique creations. Moreover, he had already made friends with all his colleagues and had become an integral part of the team. One of his colleagues shared with him the secret of how to grow crystals on his own. To do this, all that is needed is to cut the seeds from the crystal and plant them in the ground. Carl immediately got to work on this after his job. He had enough funds to grow crystals for only 3 trees. But by the end of the process, the first tree had already sprouted. In the morning, when Carl finished planting his crystal trees, he decided to lie down and sleep for a couple of hours, but his sleep was interrupted by a call from Becky, who invited him to a sale. Carl gladly agreed, as he enjoyed spending time in her company. Upon meeting, he gallantly kissed her hand, which was somewhat unusual behavior for him, but he understood that it was important to make a good impression on the girl he liked. And Becky's response was very swift to follow. She also showed interest in Carl and began to actively pay attention to him. Since Becky definitely invited Carl to the sale, he had to buy at least something for her. The truth is, he only had enough money for a set of knives, but he quickly came up with a solution and suggested they sit in a karaoke bar nearby. They and Becky enjoyed pleasant conversations in a secluded room of the karaoke bar where no one disturbed them. Then Carl even decided to perform a romantic song for Becky. Although he didn't have much talent for singing, his voice was so unprofessional that it sounded as if an elephant had stepped on his ear. Nevertheless, Becky found it very pleasant to hear his performance. And after the performance, she couldn't help but kiss Carl. After that, Carl also wanted to kiss her again, to strengthen their connection. However, after the date, he headed straight to his crystal trees to see how they had already begun to sprout, feeling excitement and joy at the upcoming miracle. Discovering that his finances have run out, Carl decides to take on an extra job to earn more money and start working on new decorations. Although all 3 trees he planted have already sprouted, he eagerly awaits the moment when they will start bearing fruit and help him improve his financial situation. Carl's daily routine consistently consists of working diligently and creating new jewelry every single day. He puts all his energy and effort into this process, striving for perfection in every decoration. However, sometimes he allows himself to take a break and spend time playing games on his phone to relax and refresh his mind. Thus pass Carl's days, filled with hard work, hope, and the anticipation of new opportunities that the future will bring him. Remember to subscribe to my Telegram channel where you'll learn interesting things about me and the world of The Sims. Link in the description. After long efforts and endless work, Carl finally managed to create a significant number of unique jewelry pieces. He organized a sale where he showcased not one of his products but a whole range of various decorations. Thanks to his talent and efforts, indeed, he sold his products at a higher markup. However, this did not deter buyers. On the contrary, all of his works were sold out, as people really liked his decorations. Carl was happy to see his creation find its owners, as well as to rejoice in the significant amount he had earned. It was indeed a well-deserved reward for his hard work, talent, and dedication to his dream. Now he had not only the financial means but also confidence in himself and his creativity. Suddenly, a very strange man appeared on his property, slowly approaching his precious trees. This caused Carl genuine horror, and he instantly rushed at the uninvited guest to drive him away. Immediately after a few harsh words and a scuffle, the guy came to his senses and Carl politely but firmly asked him to leave his plot. By the way, there was a lottery that day, and Carl decided to try his luck by buying a ticket. After that, he went to work, diving back into his usual daily concerns. When he returned, he set to work on creating a new piece of jewelry, a ma. However, such a frantic pace of life began to take a toll on his health, and the creations did not succeed. It broke, and on top of that, he started to have a headache. Despite the fact that the decoration was broken, he still managed to sell it for a considerable amount. Carl realized that he needed rest and simply went to sleep, hoping that the rest would help him recover. However, in his sleep, he was tormented by nightmares and his brain refused to function. Carl even goes to the bushes to use the bathroom, even though he has a normal toilet at home. It was a clear sign that he needed to take a break and restore his strength. All night he pondered how to get himself together and decided to take a day off to go camping in the woods with Becky. Calling her via video chat, he proposed this wonderful idea. However, unfortunately, Becky had urgent matters to attend to, and she could not go with Carl. But Carl was not upset. He stocked up necessary items for the hike and set off into the forest alone. In fact, he had barely arrived when he received an urgent call from work informing him that they were struggling without him, and he had to return to work. However, because he did not refuse to help his colleagues, he was promoted. After work, he arrived in the forest, set up his tent, and unpacked his things. Then he decided to have some fun and started playing a game that was set up in his camp. After that, he went to sleep in the tent. Essentially, that was why he came. He really wanted to sleep in the fresh air, wake up, and cook something delicious on the grill. Thus, he rested both his soul and body, enjoying nature and solitude. While he was playing the game, he caught a glimpse of something sparkling out of the corner of his eye. It was a crystal. Even on vacation, they didn't leave him alone. And of course, he rushed to it to dig out that crystal. In his eyes, one could see a spark of happiness. After that, Carl decided to take a shower. He brought along a camping canvas shower and enjoyed the freshness of the water. Then he wanted to eat another delicious burger, and for dessert, he roasted marshmallows over the fire. At that moment, he felt a deep and genuine sense of relief and calmness. He truly relaxed and fully recharged his energy. Now he was ready to head back home. There, work awaited him again with a renewed spirit, but he feels invigorated and refreshed after this short but pleasant rest in the forest. In the evening, in honor of the Love Confession Day celebration, Carl invited Becky on a date. Upon meeting, he gave her a ring that he had crafted himself. It wasn't the kind of ring typically used for proposals, but rather a beautiful piece of jewelry for her finger. Although he loved Becky, he was not yet ready for a more serious step. On the date, they chatted sweetly, played Jenga, enjoyed cocktails, and had a wonderful evening together. Becky brought up the topic of living together, but Carl explained that it wasn't the right time for him yet, due to the lack of proper furniture. However, he promised that they would definitely live together in the future. Becky was not offended by his words, and their date continued, filling the evening with warmth and coziness. Upon returning home, Carl immediately got to work. He came up with the idea to make a proposal ring for Becky. He chose the finest metal and the most beautiful stone to create something truly special. After finishing work, he placed the ring on the shelf and decided that when the time came, he would take it out and make his proposal. This ring was not just an ornament. It was a symbol of their love, embedded in every detail. Carl dreamed that this moment would be special and a little unforgettable for both of them. After time, Carl's days began to turn into a regular routine. But when he saved enough money, he decided it was time to tidy up his home and acquire beautiful furniture. First, he indeed set about arranging his office, as that is where he would spend most of his time when at home. Then he set up a double bed in his bedroom, thinking about the possibility that Becky might stay over the night. In addition, he acquired all the necessary equipment for the kitchen and even a beautiful tea set to invite Becky for a cup of tea and enjoy a lovely conversation in the cozy atmosphere of his home. When the renovation was completed, Carl immediately invited Becky over. When she arrived, he prepared a delicious tea with fragrant bergamot and treated her to this aromatic drink. They spent some time in pleasant conversation, and then Carl decided to show Becky his office. However, he did not take into account that the ring he made for her was left in a visible place. After Becky visited his office, she left his house very abruptly. This left Carl with many questions and thoughts. Maybe she was unexpectedly scared, thinking that the ring was a sign of some serious continuation of the relationship. But it's very strange, even if she thought that the ring was for her. After all, she was the one who suggested living together. In general, there remains a big question as to why she left so abruptly. Perhaps she was afraid of some kind of continuation. I hope we find out about it later. When Becky left, Carl decided to relax a bit and read a book before taking a nap for a couple of hours. However, his tranquility was disrupted by unexpected guests, as his former girlfriend from his youth came to his property. This visit came as a little surprise to Carl, as they had broken up many years ago. But what she told him was, in a way that was truly astonishing. They actually have a daughter together. Carl was completely stunned by this unexpected and surprising news. It turns out that after their breakup, she found out she was pregnant but decided not to tell him about it. And now she decided that it was time for him to take responsibility and help in raising their daughter. She yelled at him and left, leaving him in complete confusion and shock. Carl carefully and intently looked at the girl and noticed that her eyes looked unusual. They were completely covered in black, which caused him some fear. However, he managed to collect his thoughts and decided to get to know her better. During the conversation, he learned that the girl was hungry, and he immediately went to prepare dinner for her. After dinner, he decided to call his ex-girlfriend to clarify the situation. However, she responded to him rudely and told him to tend to his daughter instead of calling her, after which she hung up the phone. At that time, Alice, the girl, was tidying up the kitchen and waiting for Carl, as she still didn't know where her room was. When he returned, he tucked the girl into his bed. He even kissed her goodnight, caring for her and trying to calm his own fears. Carl, having set up a folding bed in his office, spent the night in contemplation. By 5 in the morning, he was sitting in the kitchen filled with confusion and worry about the girl, as well as how to explain it to Becca and what would happen next. When the fox woke up, she mysteriously suggested to Carl to go with her to an unknown place, not revealing where they were heading, and said that it was something to be seen, not heard. This intrigued Carl, and he agreed to go with her. When they arrived, he saw a mysterious arch. After passing through it, Carl found himself in a strange and magical place where people fly on broomsticks. Although he was scared, he decided to trust Alice and follow her to learn more about this amazing place. Alice comforted him and assured him that he had nothing to fear, as she would show him this magical world. Then Alice unexpectedly summoned her flying animal, which astonished Carl, but he decided to continue on, captivated by this amazing journey. Immersed in the amazing world of magic and wonder, Carl and Alice found themselves inside a building where every corner seemed filled with marvels. They saw people casting spells with their intricately designed magical wands and others who were meticulously preparing some magical potions. Alice, inspired by this magic, expressed a desire to look at one of the books and asked Carl to wait. After that, they headed to the shop where Alice asked him to help choose a few various items related to magic. And then Carl woke up. Yes, it was just a dream. What a twist! Waking up from this amazing dream, Carl felt a sense of relief, realizing that everything he had seen was just a fantasy. However, something incomprehensible remained in his heart, as if he had already accepted the thought that he might have a daughter, and it did not seem to him such a terrible or overwhelming burden. This dream awakened in him a desire to have a child in reality. He contemplated the significance of family and how wonderful it would be to become a father. These thoughts lingered with him for a long time. Even while working on new jewelry, Carl thought about it with her. And Becca's unexpected invitation unexpectedly threw him into even greater confusion and left him bewildered. Of course he agreed. Arriving at the dormitory, Carl suggested that she go to a bar from where there was a beautiful view of the city. Stepping away to change into an exquisite suit, he felt a strong excitement. When he returned, his heart was beating faster. He kissed Becca, performed a romantic serenade for her, and then asked her to stand up, kneeling in front of her while presenting a ring and proposing. For Becca, it was an unexpected but pleasant surprise that filled her heart with joy. They decided to get married right there on the stage of the bar. They exchanged rings, feeling the pulsating energy of their mutual affection, and then celebrated the moment with a glass of delicious drink. Together they swam joyfully in the pool and felt a sea of happiness filling their hearts before eventually heading home. This truly magical day will forever remain a vivid and bright memory for each of them. Upon returning home, Carl eagerly awaited the opportunity to start a family with Becca. He dreamed of children, and this day marked the beginning of their shared journey to parenthood. Soon they learned that Becca was pregnant, which became the embodiment of their love and another step in their shared future. Carl happily introduced Becky to the world of jewelry art, acquiring an additional work table for her. He saw in this not only an opportunity to develop his business, but also a chance to share his knowledge and passion with his beloved. Becky, in turn, eagerly immersed herself in learning the new craft. Although the beginning was not easy, she did not lose motivation and tried her best. She was pleased to see how the jewelry came to life under her hands, bringing dreams and fantasies to reality. Despite the difficulties, each step brought them closer to their shared dream, opening their own jewelry store. Days filled with everyday yet happy moments arrived in their lives. Working together brought not only income but also satisfaction from their own labor. Becky did not rest on her laurels and successfully continued her studies at university. She completed her first semester with honors. At university, she had a loyal friend with whom they shared everything, from joys to secrets. Happily, they sat on the bench by the house, enjoying their conversation and gossiping about life. Becky generously gifted her creations to friends, and her first piece of jewelry became a special gift for her best friend. Together, they tackled challenging academic tasks, combining the pleasant with the useful. Becky also shared her feelings and joys about her pregnancy with her friend, receiving support and understanding in return. Carl was also there, supporting and encouraging her. Together, they discovered new talents. For example, playing the guitar became one of their pleasant discoveries. After some time, one of the trees on Carl's property finally sprouted, and soon after, 2 more followed. The joyful event prompted Carl to decide to install a few fences around them. After all, there were many unusual characters in the area, and Carl did not want to risk that one of them could ruin the fruits of their patient waiting. He even put up a no trespassing sign on the gate, allowing access only for family. This place became a truly magical corner where one could retreat and deeply immerse themselves in contemplation, and it gave them even greater inspiration and motivation to work on their jewelry. Becky made earrings that, according to legends, helped women conceive twins. Although she was already expecting a child, she had always dreamed of having twins and decided to charge these earrings. I don't know who exactly will come into the world, so she happily put them on, filled with hope and anticipation. This spot in their garden became a true paradise. On evenings when the sun had already set beyond the horizon, lanterns were lit twice in this corner, and the trunks of the trees seemed to come alive, sparkling with glimmers of light, as if in a fairy tale. Carl and Becky loved spending time here, discussing all conceivable and inconceivable topics, surrounded by the magic of this amazing place. After a few months, the couple of births arrived. The couple hurried to the hospital where Becky successfully gave birth to a boy. Carl stayed by her side, experiencing every second of the labor together. Finally, the happy parents welcomed a beautiful boy into the world, whom they named Peter. At home, Peter was still sharing a room with his parents, as he needed so little besides a warm crib and his caring mother's hand. However, over time, the parents planned to expand their house to create a separate space for the baby. Becky, exhausted from childbirth, was simply sleeping at that moment, tired after the difficult hours, while Carl was filled with joy at the arrival of their son, tenderly caring for the baby. Of course, in Carl's heart, there was still a place for the girl from his dream, but he decided to accept everything that fate gives him and joyfully welcomed the arrival of his son. After all, he believed that in the future they would definitely have a daughter as well. But now little Peter has entered their lives, becoming their source of incredible happiness and love. Several years passed, and Peter had grown into a young boy. On one of the ordinary days, Becky went to visit her friend, where she learned some amazing news. She is pregnant once more. With a warm and heartfelt feeling, she returned home to share this joy with Carl. Carl was simply beside himself with joy, as he had already successfully taken on the role of a caring father. He hugged Becky with a smile on his face, feeling his heart filled with joy at the upcoming addition to the family. Carl continued to be a devoted father who found time for his son in the bustling rhythm of family life. Their moments together were filled with laughter, learning, and joyful discoveries. Together with Becky, they worked on their jewelry projects, not losing sight of their creative passions. By maintaining a balanced lifestyle, they found reliable ways to ensure that Peter received care in their absence. Sometimes it was a caring nanny who supported and took care of the baby, and other times he enjoyed his time in preschool. As family obligations grew, Carl continued to achieve success in his career. Like always, thanks to his talent and hard work, his drive for success created a solid foundation for the family, filling their lives with joy and harmony. The three of them absolutely and truly enjoyed every moment indeed spent together in their magical corner. Love and harmony reigned in their home, creating an atmosphere of warmth and understanding. Carl and Becky shone with devotion and care for each other and for their son. They were truly extraordinary parents who poured their hearts and completely into raising and nurturing Peter. They shared with him joys, challenges, and dreams, helping him become an independent and confident person. Carl, although he was not an expert in household matters, always found ways to show care for his family. And although he preferred to invite craftsmen for repairs, his contribution to family life was genuine and significant. It is important not only to be able to do everything yourself, but also to know when to ask for help in order to save time and energy for more important moments in life. The joy in the family knew no bounds when Becky brought another wonderful baby into the world, whom they named Steve. Although the dreams of having a daughter remained in Carl's heart, he was incredibly happy with the birth of another son. For him, each new family member was a priceless gift, filling his life with joy and meaning. The love between Carl and Becky continued to flourish in their family, and soon the pleasant news of Becky's third pregnancy further strengthened their bond. For Carl, this became a hope for the fulfillment of a long-held dream of having a daughter, and he awaited the chance to add another new member to the family. Becky always valued her friendships, but family life and work completely consumed her time and attention. Becky's friend often invited her out, suggesting meetings and events, but Becky always had family commitments. The only chance for them to communicate was during visits from Becky's friend to her home, which made each of these meetings even more valuable and special for both friends. Now the whole family, consisting of 4 members, was resting in their special spot. They loved to gather there as a family and share different stories. Often, Carl took on the role of storyteller, inventing captivating tales for the children while in that magical place. His stories truly added a special color to the atmosphere and became true works of art. It is no wonder that Carl's stories came to life in this place as he poured his heart and soul into it. He even talked to the trees, asking them about their well-being, whether he was doing everything right, and if he was providing them with enough care. In response, the trees delighted him with their fruits in the form of crystals, as if thanks to his care, bringing joy to the whole family. After a while, Becky gave birth to a girl and named her Alice, just like Carl's daughter and son. This name has become a symbol of magic and hope, connecting the past and the present. Carl was on cloud 9 when he first saw his daughter. Arrival of the girl filled his heart with joy. Several years passed, and Peter, eldest of the children, had already crossed the threshold of adolescence. His heart belongs to the world of computer games and the sounds of music, and he is especially passionate about playing the electric guitar and creating his musical masterpieces with various equipment. All of this is his passion and a source of inexhaustible inspiration. However, Carl and Becky do not always find it easy to accept such an obsession of their son. They dream of Peter following in their footsteps and becoming passionate about the art of jewelry. After all this time, they had been working hard to turn their long-held dream into reality, their own jewelry store. They had to save money and carefully wait, patiently wait for the children to grow up enough to help them with this endeavor. That is why they strive to inspire Peter in this direction, seeing him as the future heir to the family business. Steve, the middle child, has liked jewelry making since he was very young, but he is still too early for active participation in the family business. Nevertheless, he enjoys spending time in his parents' workshop, carefully observing the magical processes of creating jewelry. Every moment in the workshop is filled with wonders and mysteries for him. But he couldn't take his eyes off the craftsmen who were creating real magic. Steve was like a little assistant, diligently watching every step in the process of creating jewelry, and his love for this art only grew stronger with each passing day. Alice was simply an incomparable little princess in her father's eyes. Carl looked at his daughter with special admiration and tenderness, and every moment spent with her was special to him. He devoted his attention to her, playing games with her and coming up with entertainments. For Carl, it was important to be close to Alice, to support her, inspire her, and protect her from any misfortunes. Alice, in turn, responded to her father's love and care with her boundless trust and a smile, which was Carl's most precious treasure. And before we continue, please like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget about Telegram. Peter's adolescence turned out to be a period of difficult trials. Repeated misunderstandings with his parents left a deep mark on him, and at times he felt profoundly overwhelmed, sinking into deep thoughts and sadness. In such moments, music would come to his aid, becoming a kind of refuge from difficulties and disappointments. However, the father, aiming to guide Peter in line with the family plans, insisted on his participation in the jewelry business. Peter, resisting, felt a deep internal struggle but could not remain indifferent to his father's wishes. Despite the pressure, as soon as Peter was free from his duties, he would instantly run to his guitar. In music, he found a source of inspiration and freedom where he could express his thoughts and feelings without limitations. Saturdays always had special atmosphere, a day full of possibilities, family labor. The garage sale became not only a way for the family to sell their products, but also a true family event where everyone contributed. Carl and Becky considered it important to involve the children in this process, as they wanted them to understand the value of hard work and learn how to earn their own money from a young age. At the garage sales, the children were always involved in the work, helping to set up the items and serving the customers. This experience was not only for education but also for fun, as the children happily spent time together with their parents while learning the basics of entrepreneurship. Their products were always in high demand, and it's certainly no wonder, as each item was created with love and attention to detail, making them unique and desirable for potential buyers. Despite some family misunderstandings, their mutual love as a family was very strong. For example, Peter always enjoyed spending time with his younger sister. He read her books, fixed her dollhouse, and played dolls with her. In those moments, the parents watched their children with pride and joy. For this little princess, it has always been important to know that she is loved and cared for by every member of the family. They continued to gather in the evenings with the whole family to enjoy each other's company and share joy with one another. But Peter occasionally felt tired of his vanilla life, so he sometimes sought entertainment in bars. There he interacted with different people, consumed alcohol, and enjoyed complete freedom. Sometimes he even flirted with different women, exploring new sides of his personality outside of the family circle. The long-awaited event of Peter's graduation arrived, where he could enjoy time together with his school friends. At school, he was a recognized leader as his character was fiery, but he was always ready to defend his friends. But he especially felt confident in the presence of Yuki, whom he had been in love with for a long time. On that graduation evening, he decided to show her special attention by inviting her to a slow dance. After the formal part of the evening, they went to the amusement park with friends, where Peter showcased his guitar skills. And then he continued to flirt with Yuka. He complimented her, kissed her on the neck, and then even dared to kiss her on the lips. They even declared themselves a couple and posted a joint photo on social media. But it was already 3 a.m. and Peter had long needed to return home. Upon arrival, Carl seriously scolded Peter. Firstly, for being out so late on the streets. Secondly, he saw their joint photo on the internet and forbade them from seeing that girl. Carl believed that Peter was too young for serious relationships and feared that it could lead to undesirable consequences. He reminded Peter of the importance of studying and his future in the jewelry business. Therefore, Carl imposed a restriction on his son from leaving the house. The next morning, Carl made sure that Peter was focused on creating jewelry. Other plans had long been brewing. Together with Becky, they saved enough money to open their own jewelry store. They aspired to this and needed their son's help to realize their dream. Their small but cozy store was built with great love. On the outside, it looked like a cute fairy tale cottage, attracting the attention of people and inviting them inside. Beautiful plants were blooming around the store, giving the place a special charm and creating a cozy atmosphere. Inside, everything was decorated modern style. There were many shelves and glass display cases, in which the jewelry glittered brilliantly. The interior of the room was done in elegantly white tones, and various plants adorned the hall, giving it a special, beautiful charm. They also set up a small workshop where jewelry could be created right in the store during working hours. In addition, a separate public restroom was built on the site to meet the needs of visitors, and a food vending machine was installed so that guests could enjoy a tasty treat. The guys carefully arranged the merchandise on the shelf, giving the store a cozy appearance. They noticed that they were a bit short on jewelry to fill the entire display, so they set to work crafting new pieces. During breaks from work, they relaxed, talking to each other and enjoying the family atmosphere. During a break, Peter asked his mom outside and said he had fallen in love. his father forbids them from seeing each other. Mom supported her son and promised to talk to his father but asked him to be more careful. Then they returned to work, focusing on creating jewelry. Peter discreetly placed the earrings he had made for himself into his pocket to later give to Yuka. When the store opened, there was no end to the visitors. The store was packed with customers, and it was good that their family was together. They also hired a saleswoman. Together, they managed the influx of visitors, creating a warm atmosphere and delighting customers with their jewelry. The next day, the parents had to go to work, and the children had to go to school. However, after school, the children arrived early, and Peter asked Steve to stay with Alice and not tell the parents anything, while he went to meet Yuka. When they met, Peter was filled with joy that they were together again, passionately kissing and hugging Yuka. These tender moments led them to decide to be alone with each other. After this important event, Peter put a ring on Yuka's finger, promising to always be by her side despite his parents' opposition, and gave her the earrings he had made himself. However, it was time to return home, as his parents would soon be back from work. At home, Peter quickly put Alice to bed and began reading her a book as if nothing had happened. 15 more years passed. In the warm walls of Peter and Yuka's home, the whole family gathered to meet the new member of the family, the little one of the newlyweds. The huge table where fragrant food was placed witnessed their gathering, where everyone recalled their moments from life. Carl, the old sailor of life, revealed to them the pages of his rich history. He spoke about the first meeting with their mother, about the days when each new arrival of the children felt like a gift from heaven. They also recalled the time when Carl was against Yuka, and how now he understood that the ban was merely a misconception. Like a tree that he planted many years ago, it grew, bringing joy and fruits in the form of a sparkling jewelry store. Like a hero from a book, he realized that his life had been worthy, full of adventures and hopes. He sowed the seeds of goodness and love, nurtured them into wonderful children, and now, in the twilight of his days, he happily rested, knowing that his children would continue his legacy. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comment, as it is very important for promoting this video. Bye-bye.